Hi everyone, welcome back to Gktoday. I am Sia and very good morning. So here we are discussing the most important current affairs of 15 and 16 June 2025 and the topics are a recent postal service by the Department of Post, a major report in news on carbon pricing by the World Bank. In place in news category, we will discuss the Lake Natron, which is associated with the major wetland site, and some static that is associated with Wetland International and the recent Ramsur sites. In defense news, we will discuss the Rudrastra. Recently, days in news, we will discuss a major telescope that is CLAS, a major operation that can be initiated for the World War III, that is Operation Rising Lion by the Israel. In recent species, we will discuss the mouse deer, it is an online portal Bharat Poll by the CBI. Recent summits in news, we will discuss some tag, GI tag, and in award category we will discuss the Shrimant Shankard Award by the Assam government. Decades old scheme, that is National Family Benefit Scheme, and just because of Uttar Pradesh update we will discuss it. In place in news category, Himal Pass, we will also discuss it. Some other days in news, some perv by the ministries, the update from the NATO, some other major reports, and the update of the UNESCO, right? And all these questions, they are from the daily 20 MCQ series of Gktoday application, and here we are discussing the daily 20 MCQ series. Here we go, and the first one. Lake Natron that was recently seen in news is located on the border of which two countries? So a major lake in news, that is Natron, and it is located alongside the border of Tanzania and Kenya. And recently it was in news just because of its environmental threat from climate change and development project, and that's why it is gaining global attention. Basically, it is a shallow hyperalkaline salt lake near the Kenya-Tanzania border. Its color is red just because of the salt-loving microorganism. Overall, it is a Ramsur wetland site, right? So you have to remember its location alongside the border of Tanzania and Kenya. So here we are discussing two major countries, Tanzania and Kenya, and the Ramsur and the Wetland International update. So first of all, the Tanzania. Tanzania is a known country just because of its highest peak, the highest peak of Africa, and that is located in the Tanzania, and its name is the Mount Kilimanjaro, right? Basically, it shares its boundary with Zambia, Kenya, and the other countries. And Kenya is important because it is the home of the Africa's second largest peak, and that is Mount Kenya. Overall, both the countries are sharing its coastal line with the Indian Ocean. The capital of Kenya is Nairobi, and the capital of Tanzania, that you have to mention in the comment box. And here we are discussing the Ramsur wetland site. So PYQ question, and that is about the Wetland International. Is the Wetland International a part of Ramsur Convention? So no, it is not. Basically, Wetland International formed in some 1954 before Ramsur, and it is an NGO to protect the conservation and protection of the wetland, right? And the Ramsur Convention, basically it is signed in some 1971 to protect wetland globally. Overall, both are different. Wetland International, it is an organization formed in 1954, and Ramsur Convention, it is a treaty signed in 1971 at a city Ramsur in the Iran country, right? Overall, which country has the highest number of Ramsur sites? And that is United Kingdom, followed by the Mexico. Also, there is a term that is Montreux record. So Montreux record, basically it is a register of Ramsur site which is facing ecological threat. So overall, on the world level, there are some 48 sites that are listed in Montreux record just because of their ecological threat and the major conservation program. From India, there are two sites, and that is Gktoday National Park from Rajasthan and Loktak Lake from Manipur, and they are the part of the Montreux record, and that is the initiative by the Ramsur Convention. Moving on, the next one. Here we are discussing some major question that is associated with Ramsur in news, and that are: who has become the first Indian to be honored with the Ramsur Award for wetland wise use? It is the first Indian, and that is Jayashree Venkatesan. The Ministry of Environment, Forest and Climate Change organized the World Wetland Day event at which Ramsur site, and that is at Pavati Arga in Uttar Pradesh on 2nd of Feb, the World Wetland Day, by the Ministry of Environment, whose cabinet minister is Bhupendra Yadav. Which two Indian cities recently joined the list of accredited wetland cities under the Ramsar Convention, and these cities are Indore and the Udaipur. Overall, in India, there are total 91 Ramsar sites. Moving on, the next one. Which country has launched a military action called Operation Rising Lion to address regional security concern? So, major operation in news that can be initiated for the World War III as per the news, and recently it is launched by the Israel against the Iran's nuclear facilities, missile systems and military command center. So Israel has launched a military action named Operation Rising Lion targeting Iran's nuclear and military infrastructure. Overall, this move marks a sharp escalation in the ongoing conflict between Israel and Iran. So with this question, here we are discussing the Middle East countries and the major operations in news. So the Middle East region, basically it includes Arabian Peninsula, Levant region, Turkey, Egypt, Iran and Iraq. Overall, some of 25 to 28 countries are the part of the Middle East, including Egypt, Sudan, Libya, Oman, Yemen, Afghanistan, Iran and the other. So basically Middle East countries, they are the group of some African and European nation separated by major water bodies just like Arabian Sea and Mediterranean Sea. So the key water bodies that are the part of the Middle East countries, including the Red Sea, the Persian Gulf, which named the Arabian Gulf recently, and the Strait of Hormuz. Red Sea, basically it is located alongside the Suez Canal. So basically Suez Canal, it is separated by the Mediterranean Sea and the Red Sea alongside the Egypt and Sudan's coastal line, sharing its coastal line with the Arab Peninsula as well. And the Persian Gulf, basically it is located nearby the Strait of Hormuz, and Strait of Hormuz, it is a separating point for the Arabian Gulf and the Oman, Gulf of Oman, right? Overall, the capital of the major Middle East countries, just like Israel, its capital is Jerusalem. We all know the capital of Turkey, because it was new just because of the boycott trend, and its capital is Ankara. The capital of Greece, it is Athens. The capital of Iran, that is Tehran. Capital of Azerbaijan, that is Baku. Of Egypt, that is Cairo. Of Syria, and that is Damascus. Of Afghanistan, that is Kabul. Point to be remembered, Pakistan is not a Middle East country. It is the South Asian countries as well the India. Moving on, here we are discussing some major operation in news on the world level and the by Indian government. What is the name of the security operation launched by the Indian Army for the Amarnath Yatra? And that is Operation Shiva. And other operation similar to this launched by the Indian Army, just like Operation Kalar, Operation Nadir, Operation Sindoor, and one is also there. You have to answer in the comment box. What is the name of the Ukrainian operation that involved a major drone strike on Russian airbase? And that is Operation Spider Web. What is the name of recent operation launched by CBI to curb transnational cybercrime syndicate? And that is Operation Chakra 5. A major military operation that is called Operation Gideon Chariot in the Gaza Strip, and it is launched by the Israel. A railway protection force operation, that is the Operation Ahad. Operation Nadir, basically it is related with the Jammu Kashmir and launched by the Chenab Corps, and a joint anti-terror operation it is. India's biggest anti-Naxal operation against the left-wing extremism on the Chhattisgarh-Telangana border, and that is Operation Black Forest, and also the Operation Sankalp. It is also associated with the Chhattisgarh-Telangana border, exactly at the Bijapur region, and launched by the CRPF or major CAPF. Moving on, the next one. Shipkila Pass is situated in which state? And that is Himachal Pradesh. So recently the government of Himachal Pradesh has opened the Shipkila Pass to Indian tourists, aiming to boost local economy in Kinnaur and Lahore Spiti, which share a 240-kilometer border with China. Shipkila Pass, once known as Pemala or Shared Gate or Shared Pass, but it declared part of the line of actual control after the 1962 Sino-Indo War and recently opened to domestic tourists. Overall, the major river, so which river enters India through Shipkila Pass? And that is Satluj River, known as Lankin Zangbo in Tibet. So trade route between India and Tibet, that is the Shipkila Pass, and just because of the recent activity by the Himachal Pradesh government, it was in news. Moving on, here we are discussing some major place in news category current affair, and that is Hardin McDonald Island, which was seen in news, is located in which ocean? And that is Indian Ocean. Rapa Nui, also known as Easter Island, is located in which ocean? That is Southeastern Pacific Ocean. Vakkala Cliff, and basically it is located in the state of Kerala. Trital Island, it is the part of South China Sea. Mount Erebus, it is the part of Antarctica. Mount Fuji, it is associated with Japan. Diego Garcia Island, it is located in the Indian Ocean. Moving on, the next one. What is the name of the new postal service launched by the Department of Post for educational material delivery? So a major portal, that is Ganpost, recently launched by the Department of Post. So basically its main agenda is to deliver a special postal service for educational, cultural, social and religious books. It supports the goal of new education policy by making printed learning material affordable and accessible, especially in rural and remote area. And by this, a tracking facility is available to ensure transparency and timely delivery. Overall, you have to remember Ganpost by the Department of Post. Here we are discussing the Department of Post. So when was the Department of Post in India established? So the establishment year is 1st of October 1854, and new education policy, and also here also the new education policy. In which year was the latest new education policy launched in India? And that is 2020. And it replaced the former 1986 new education policy. Basically, it is based on 5 plus 3 plus 3 plus 4 structure of education. Moving on, the next one. Which organization has released a report titled State and Trends of Carbon Pricing 2025? So a major report on carbon pricing, and recently it was launched by the World Bank. So the World Bank released the State and Trends of Carbon Pricing 2025 as carbon pricing now covers 28% of global greenhouse gas GHG emission and raises over $100 billion in revenue. So just because of this revenue and the global coverage, this report was in news and it is launched by the World Bank. Here we are discussing a major term, that is the carbon pricing. So exactly what is carbon pricing? So basically the carbon pricing, it puts a cost on greenhouse gas emission and it aims to reduce pollution by encouraging cleaner alternative and to generate some revenue. And recently this report highlighted the generated revenue and the targeted area of the carbon pricing. So in India, which is a developing nation, there is some other system, and that is the ETS rule. So India launched ETS rules for industrial sector, focusing on rate-based benchmark instead of emission caps. Overall, you have to remember this report by the World Bank. Here we are discussing the World Bank. Basically, World Bank, it is associated with two major institutions including IBRD and the IDA. Presently, it is headed by the Ajay Banga, an Indian origin, and formally it was formed in 1954 at Bretton Woods Conference. So basically, they are twin organization including the World Bank and the IMF, formed in 1944, and their headquarters is located at Washington DC in USA. There is some voting shareholder process in the World Bank. For United States, it is 15.85% as per the shareholding capacity, and India stands on the 7th rank with 2.91%, followed by the Russia with 2.77%, and the highest is of US 15.85%. So higher the shareholder, higher the voting power. Moving on, the next one. CLAT telescope is located in which country? And that country is Chile. So recently, scientists using the CLAT telescope have detected a faint 13 billion year old microwave signal. Basically, the telescope, it is located in Chile's Atacama Desert, and recently with the help of this telescope, scientists has detected 13 billion year old microwave signal. Just unbelievable task has done by the scientist in the Chile with the use of CLAT telescope recently, and that's why this question was in news. Moving on, the next one. Which organization has developed an online portal, Bharatpol, to enhance international police cooperation? So a major portal, Bharatpol, and recently it is launched by the CBI, the Central Bureau of Investigation. So the CBI recently has received India's first silver notice from the Interpol, aiding in tracing illegal financial assets across countries. So basically, a silver notice, or a term in news. So what is a silver notice? So basically, a silver notice helps to track illegal financial assets hidden along border sites or across different countries with the help of Interpol. So recently, India has received a global cooperation from the Interpol to trace the illegal financial assets across countries and alongside the border areas. Overall, here we are discussing the Interpol, a major organization of police on the world level, officially known as the International Criminal Police Commission, established in 1923, and its headquarters is located in Lyon, France. And here we are discussing the CBI, the Central Bureau of Investigation. So who was the first DG of the CBI in India? And that is DP Kohli. The establishment year of the CBI, and that is 1963, and it functions under the Ministry of Personal Public Grievances and Pensions, whose cabinet minister, basically it is directly headed by the Prime Minister Narendra Modi, and the current DG of the CBI, and that is the former IPS Pravin Sood. So Pravin Sood, he is the current DG of the Central Bureau of Investigation. Moving on, the next one. Who has been conferred with the Shrimant Shankard Award in June 2025, and that is Sonal Mansingh. So recently, the government of Assam presented the Shrimant Shankard Award to Dr. Sonal Mansingh, a renowned classical dancer and the cultural icon. Basically, the award was conferred by the governor of Assam, that is Lakshman Prasad Acharya, at Shrimant Shankardev Kala Kshetra, Guwahati. Basically, this award honors the legacy of Sant Reformer Shrimant Shankardev, who promoted unity, harmony, and ecological balance, and recently awarded to Sonal Mansingh by the government of Assam. Moving on, the next one. Which state government has digitized the National Family Benefit Scheme to enhance transparency and efficiency in June 2025? So a major scheme in news, some decades old scheme it is, and that is National Family Benefit Scheme, and recently it is launched by the Uttar Pradesh government. So the Uttar Pradesh government has digitalized the National Family Benefit Scheme to ensure quick, transparent, and efficient financial aid to poor families. Overall, the scheme offers some 30,000 rupees to the dependent of a deceased earning head if the family's annual income is below 56,416 in urban areas and 46,080 rupees in rural area. So criteria is different for urban and the rural areas, and funds are transferred through the PFMS, that is Public Financial Management System, to Aadhaar linked accounts. Overall here we are discussing a decade old scheme, that is NFBS. So what year was the National Family Benefit Scheme initially launched in India? A PYQ it is, and that is 1995, and it functions under the Ministry of Rural Development. Moving on the next one. Which ministry has inaugurated the Lok Samvardhan Parv in New Delhi, and recently it is launched by the Ministry of Minority Affairs, whose cabinet minister is Kiran Rijiju. So recently Minority Affairs Minister, and that is Kiran Rijiju, inaugurated the Lok Samvardhan Parv at Rajghat in New Delhi. And he is also handling the Ministry of Parliamentary Affairs. So a joint cabinet minister for Ministry of Minority Affairs and Ministry of Parliamentary Affairs, and that is Kiran Rijiju, and recently inaugurated the Lok Samvardhan Parv in New Delhi. Basically the event showcased key government schemes under the vision of Sabka Saath, Sabka Vikas, Sabka Vishwas, Sabka Prayas. It focuses on the economic empowerment of minority communities overall. Moving on the next one. NATO has launched a military exercise, that is BALTOPS 25 in which country? So major defense organization NATO from the European continent, and recently launched a military exercise in the Latvia, major Baltic nation it is. So NATO, basically its full form is North Atlantic Treaty Organization. It consists some 31 member states, and countries from North America and Europe are the members of the NATO. It was established in some 1949, and it is based on the Treaty of Washington Treaty, right? So recently they launched military exercise BALTOPS in Latvia, and Latvia, it is a Baltic nation. Also there are two other Baltic nations as well, including the Lithuania and Estonia, located on the eastern coast of the Baltic Sea. Overall they gained independence from the Soviet Union in some 1991. Moving on the next one. Which organization has developed the Rudrastra, a hybrid vertical takeoff and landing unmanned aerial vehicle? So major UAV, a major aerial vehicle, that is Rudrastra, and recently it was developed by the Solar Defense and Aerospace Limited, the SDAL. So the Indian Army successfully tested Rudrastra developed by the SDAL. The trial met all Army requirements, including vertical takeoff, high endurance, and the exact targeting and the mission flexibility. Recent UAV by the SDAL, and that is the Rudrastra. Moving on the next one. Which day is observed is International Albinism Awareness Day every year, and that is 13th of June. So 13th of June is observed as IAAD every year to support the right of people with albinism. Exactly what is albinism? Basically it is a genetic disorder characterized by a lack of melanin pigment in the skin, hair and eyes, leading to pale featured. It is caused by some genes that is responsible for the melanin production, a major pigment for the skin. Overall, just for the awareness of this disease, the United Nations has established an annual day, that is on 13th of June, and it is recognized as the International Albinism Awareness Day. And the first day it was observed on 13th of June 2015, and the theme of this year, that is demanding our rights, protecting our skin, preserving our lives. Moving on the next one. Mouse deer, which was seen in news, is endemic to which region? So species in news, that is mouse deer, and basically it is endemic in the region of Indian subcontinent. So recently the Indira Gandhi Zoological Park recently announced the successful birth of a mouse deer, highlighting its conservation and breeding success. The mouse deer, also called the Indian Chevrolet, is the smallest deer species and is known for its shy and elusive behavior. Overall, just because of the recent successful birth, it was the news, the mouse deer. And the IUCN status, basically the IUCN classified them as least concern. Moving on the next one. Let's move to the next one. Where was the Yoga Connect 2025 Global Summit held? So the location is option number B, New Delhi. So the Ministry of Ayush recently hosted the Global Summit Yoga Connect on 14th of June 2025 at Vigyan Bhavan, New Delhi as a key event before the 11th International Day of Yoga. It was held in hybrid format with over 1,000 in-person participants and virtual attendees from top yoga institution and wellness group worldwide. Overall, the International Day of Yoga, it is observed on 21st June every year. Moving on the next one. Ozofani, which has recently received a GI tag, belongs to which state? So a traditional liquid, it is the Ozofani, and recently received a GI tag, and it is from the Goa state. Moving on the next one. Recently, a Salmonella outbreak linked to eggs has been recorded in which country? So, major Salmonella outbreak and recently has affected some 79 people in the United States of America. So, as per the recent report, some 21 has hospitalized with the Salmonella outbreak that is linked to the eggs. Basically, it is a type of bacteria that causes food poisoning, and it lives in the intestines of animals and is spread through their feces into contaminated food or water. And recently outbreak cases in the United States of America. Moving on the next one. World Blood Donor Day is celebrated on which day every year? So it's celebrated every year on the day of 14th of June, and recently celebrated to honor voluntary and unpaid blood donors. It is a global tribute to people who donate blood selflessly, giving others a second chance at the life. So basically the day that is 14th of June, aligning with the International Yoga Day. Moving on the next one. Which organization has released the Global Trends Report Forced Displacement in 2024? And it is recently released by the United Nations High Commissioner for Refugees. So recently they released this report for the 2024 edition, and as per this report, forced displacement means people are forced to leave their homes due to violence, disaster, and the other human right violation. By the end of 2024, around 123.2 million people were forcibly displaced worldwide. Children made up 40% of this displaced population as per this report, Global Trends Report. And most of the displaced person were from Sudan, Syria, Afghanistan, Ukraine, and the Palestine. About 73.5 million people were internally displaced, meaning they stayed within their own country but had to flee their homes. Overall, here we are discussing the United Nations High Commissioner for Refugees. Basically, they received their Nobel Prize in 1954 and their establishment year is 1950. Moving on, the next one. Which city in Uttar Pradesh has been officially nominated for inclusion in UNESCO's Creative Cities Network as a city of gastronomy? So, recently that city is the cultural capital of Uttar Pradesh, and that is the Lucknow. That recently has been officially nominated for inclusion in UNESCO's Creative Cities Network as a city of gastronomy. Basically, the city's rich food culture is now gaining global attention with its nomination from the UCCN. And if selected, Lucknow will become only the second Indian city after Hyderabad to be honored in the gastronomy field. So you have to remember the Lucknow that is nominated for the UCCN recently. And with this, we have covered the daily 20 MCQ series of Gktoday application. I hope you have found this session productive and useful. And the question of the day for you, and that is associated with the major sports category. And their answer you have to mention in the comment box. So wrapping up, we will meet with the next session.